Welcome. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show. We're going to just do a little Q&A and see if I can answer questions about the Arizona real estate market. It's a very interesting one right now. And IAM says, can't believe we're already at 13,000 homes on the market. The official number this morning is 13,899. You can see by my 7-day moving average, the blue line represents homes that have entered the market, and the red line represents homes that are under contract. And then down here are price reductions, 4,140. Now, we got a little bit of a dip here simply because we had a holiday on Monday. So I expect that to kind of come up a little bit because we're down to we had 5,300 homes come on the market and only 2,899 go under contract. That's a difference of 2,400 when we were seeing differences of only 150. So, and the market has really, really changed. And going on here and looking at active inventory, Queen Creek is just about at a balanced market. You can see that their inventory is right there at 2019 levels already. And 2019 was already getting a little brisk. Inventory was low. So we're back where that was. We have real estate industry getting more integrated with the internet. Prices and supply will change much faster than in the past. Oh, I couldn't agree more. You have access to more information now than you ever did before. And we take a look, and Buckeye's another area where it's getting a balanced market. You can see it's gone up to above 2019 levels. And then you have Chandler, and it is still below, but they're all heading in the same direction. You can see the Crawford market index with 100 being considered a balanced market, that we're falling off a cliff here, and we're just about at 200. Buckeye will be in a balanced market next week. Pop out the champagne. Yay, here we go. Listings under contract. This one is really dropping off, folks. Take a look at that. Compared to 2020 and 2021, the number of listings under contracts dropping. It's to be expected with the interest rates that we have. And it's still hard to project where we're headed. You know, people are projecting that interest rates are going to be 8%. That's just a guess. Nobody knows. They're saying they're going to be 10%. We're going to fall by 30%. There's no way to project that out based on any extrapolations of data right now. We can guess. And I don't like to guess. I like to look and go, well, it's for sure going to be a tough summer. There's no doubt. All things happen faster and faster now. Markets used to move like a snail. Good morning. Yes. There are still markets out there that are pretty brisk, though. If you look at Ahwatukee, homes are selling quickly out there. There's not very much. I can't break it out separately here on the Crawford report, but there isn't a lot for sale out there. There's a couple spots in Gilbert that are going really well, Agricopia and what is it, Morristown. So it's not dead yet. What's that Monty Python movie? I'm not quite dead yet. Gas and groceries have doubled in the past year. Wages have not. And that's the trick, because the central bank is raising rates to tamp down on consumer activity to lower inflation, but they can't do anything about gas and groceries. The central bank can't. It's very interesting when we look at some of those numbers, and I'll show you. Here's some. I'll show you a couple things. One, here's one of the reasons I don't guess. Here's this blog. It's been out here. Look at this. Listings increasing. If we're going to sell, we would sell now. A lot of news. Oversupply, empty, overpriced condos. This is September 2018. And they were wrong for going on 3 years now. Do you think the layoffs happening in the mortgage industry are projection where things are headed? No. Yes and no. There's definitely lower activity, but I can show you here that actually activity went up last week by 8%. But the refinancing boom, most of these mortgage companies had just desks and desks of people sitting at them with doing refinancing. And that's just not a party anymore. Nobody's doing that. I can't pull data on the Bullhead and Laughlin area. I wish I could, but I only have access to local MLS here in Phoenix. And so you got all these layoffs because I mean, I personally have a young man that I know that was working for Loan Depot in California, and they were laying off their staff like crazy. That's all he did was refis. I would say if you're a home buyer, a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset. Pal, I wonder how that plays into his rate decisions. I don't think he is worried about the first time home buyer. He does want to roll back houses and get it more stabilized and get it more realistic to today's buyer. But it's interesting. Here's what's interesting, and that is that interest rates. Powell was on and he was testifying this week, and he wasn't very positive. He was saying he's really going to clamp down. He's going to, have several rate increases. And then after he was done testifying, rates went down. They went from 6.2 to 5.8. Go figure. It's just hard to guess. And even in this article here, it says in terms of housing specific data this week, it's a mixed bag. So it's saying that between the revision and the jump in the current data, the new home sales look like they're less of a volatile reversal and more of a gradual leveling off. One might even call it normalization. And they're saying that from here, we can continue holding out hope that last week represented the peak fear when it comes to inflation and the Fed's policy response. Well, what do they mean by peak fear? Well, I pulled up some inflation data, and here it is here from the Federal Reserve, and it's peaked up here, and it's gradually coming down on the 5-year forward analysis, and same on the 10-year. So that's what they're looking at. And so they're thinking, maybe we're getting on top of it. Fed's playing both sides, raising rates and buying bonds to drive rates down. I can take a look on the chart there and see what they're doing with the bonds, but they were going to back off on that. I've seen home purchases last 60 days and immediately being relisted for 10% increases. Who's doing this? Inspecting that return investors? Yep. Some of them are getting it. They're investor activity. My phone blows up all week. Hey, Rick, have you got anything for me? And we're going to try and get an investor on next week to talk to. Sales in Maricopa County are down full 15%. Sign of things looming. Summer and fall are going to be big nothing burgers. It's definitely slowing down. There's no doubt about that. We look at, like I said right here, these are listings under contract. Here's what you also can't put a number on. When people say, well, when rates go up 1%, sales go down this far. It really depends on where you are on the pricing cycle. Right now, a 1 or a 2% increase in rates has a larger impact than it ever did in the 80s because of where our house prices are. It's, they're so overpriced historically that a 1% increase is really causing a problem with people. Fed's fund rates at 7.5 due for another Fed Reich. Targets 3.75 to 4 next year. I kind of muddled through that reading that, but you can all see it. Like I said, I think that's hard to tell. The market, for the most part, they're telling us what they're going to do. So the market is already putting that into consideration with the rates for mortgage rates. So you can see that the last time, they went up 0.75, mortgage rates didn't budge because they were already anticipating it. That was already built into their mortgages. And when they said 0.75, they said, okay, cool. Rates actually went down. So when they come out next month and they go 0.75, it's probably not going to budge much. It's going to be kind of, I think we're just going to muddle along for a while. And if inflation is not looking like it's getting under control and it's starting to show signs of cracking a little bit, then perhaps they'll clamp down even higher. You mentioned housing prices aren't going down, but you also said you shouldn't put the house up for sale. It was sold 3 months ago. Wouldn't that statement mean prices are going down? Asking prices. And I'll see if I can show you the chart for that, because it's here's what's going on. Let's say this hand is 2021 and this is 2022, and prices went up and they peaked in March, but they're still way above 2021, and we're still way above for the year, like about 17%. So the asking price that people had was they were going up above that peak. They were going up above what the trend was. So we were going up like 16%. We were way up above 2021, but they were pricing too far above the trend. So their asking price has to come down. But if they sell it and you look at the sales price, they're still way above last year. So it's kind of confusing. Asking prices are definitely on their way down. That's why we saw, like, even in, let's see if I can pull it up here, price changes. Here's what's going on. That right there, those are price reductions. People are shooting for the moon and they're not getting it, so they have to pull back. It's expected. It happens with rents this high. How can home prices go down? You're still better buying than renting. I don't think there's any harm in waiting to see what happens this summer. I don't think there's any harm in that unless we have a rent spike. But rent is, not a rent spike, but a rate spike. I think sitting back and watching is probably not a bad idea. But it all depends on your situation. Next time Pat's on, can you go over mortgage shopping tips and what he does to different? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll get him on. Let's make sure he's got HD again, because he was much better yesterday. We call him Fuzzy Pat, and because he's got such a bad connection at home. So the actual sold price you expect to be flattered down the next 2 to 3 months. It's looking like by the time we get to September, we're going to be flat. If you're thinking of selling, then you have to be really sharp about your prices. In other words, you really need to know kind of where your house is in the market. In other words, when you get a comps out there, it's going to say your home falls between this range and this range. So if you price it and you don't have the activity that you want, like right off the bat, like first weekend, then bring that price down, because time on market kills you. Now, if you're looking for a home to purchase right now, I think I'd look at homes that are on the market at least 15 to 20 days. That's when the hard conversation starts taking place between the home seller and the real estate agent. And don't wait for the price to come to you. You should just go to them with your price. A lot of people sit back and say, I'm going to wait till that house lowers their price. Well, when they do that, now they've got everybody's attention. So why not just put an offer out on the price that you want and see what happens? It doesn't cost you anything. It's not a bad way to go. And then for those of you looking at scenarios, I think I've showed you this before. I'm going to pull this up again real quick here. And why is it not showing it for me here? Bear with me. Oh, I see what I did wrong. I had it up on the wrong screen. Here it is. This is my handy dandy little scenario calculator here. So you put up here in this column what the price of the house is. I just put 500,000. It assumes a 20% down payment, and I'm looking for a good agent. Any ideas? Yeah, you're talking to them. Interest rates, you could put your interest rate here. Here's 6.2, gives you your payment. Then you can go down here and go, what if interest rates go to 8%, but prices go down 25%? What's your payment difference? Well, it'll be $249 lower, even though you had a rate increase, but you're going to need that 25% price decrease. Then you can put, well, what if it goes up 5%? What if it goes down 10%? And you can play with that calculator and kind of make your own little scenarios going forward. And if you want that, email me at rick@rickhelps.com and I'll send it to you. I think I sent out about 25 of them this week. So I don't put you on a spam list. So don't worry about that. I just send you the calculator to play with. Somebody did make the comment yesterday that they didn't know where to put the interest rate in. So look at the cells carefully. Sometimes it's kind of confusing. And Antonio, just email me at rick@rickhelps.com. Let me know what part of town you're looking for an agent in. And if I can't do it, I'll certainly hook you up with somebody that can. There's 60,000 of us out there. Should be able to find somebody, right? So that's 60,000 agents. You know, the majority, there's a lot of agents that just have their license and they're not really active. They flip homes or they occasionally do something. But here's a question. What are the top emerging markets, neighborhoods that have caught your eye over the last few months? I'm still surprised at the briskness of Ahwatukee. For those of you that don't know where that is, if you go down I-10 towards Tucson, towards Chandler, it's off to the right between Elliott and or between Ray Road and Chandler Boulevard. And those homes are, man, as soon as they go up, they're gone. I think it's because of its proximity to the airport. And then portions of Gilbert have been kind of surprising to me that it's as resilient as it is. Those have caught my attention. Paradise Valley gets kind of seasonal now, slows down. So does luxury in Scottsdale. Scottsdale has, I think downtown Scottsdale has really surprised me at how expensive that got. And it really shocked me how expensive North Central Phoenix got, which is up kind of like, the 51 freeway between Central Avenue and the 51 north of Indian School to Northern. The prices are just astronomical up there. So those are kind of surprising to me. Emerging markets, most of your emerging markets are in the outlying areas like Maricopa, Buckeye, Queen Creek. Those are always the first to come down, though, if things tend to soften. Kind of like California, if you know Moreno Valley at all, it does that. So not for long. So I'm not sure what question that's referencing, Jackie. Let me know. Can you explain what a balanced market is, and what do you think do you think we can blow past it? Yeah, there's always a possibility we can blow past it. I mean, at the rate that it's going down right now, that's what I'm saying. Watch the numbers. This could be a wild summer. Could be, 60,000 agents. Yeah, I know, not for long. That number is going to go down. I get you. They're just going to give up. It's highly possible. I mean, if you get to it, because the rates right now, we have an affordability issue and it's huge. So I don't expect us just to go to where it's balanced between buyers and sellers and stay there, so long as, people's payments are up 57% higher than they were last year. That's going to take some straightening out to do. It's rates are going to either have to come back down or prices are going to come down. Staying the same, I don't think is an option right now. But again, I'm guessing, I'm speculating, but it's highly possible that we'll blow past a buyer's market. My parents live in Mulval. I don't even know where that is. I should. So I think, the thing to watch, I mean, we look at the Crawford market index and it measures whether or not it's tilting in favor of sellers, tilting from buyers. But, you need to look at contingencies. If contingencies are going up and they're getting accepted more and more, then you can count on some price reductions coming even at a faster clip. Not surprising, the outskirts. Yeah, who can afford the gas? Yeah, I wouldn't want to live. Oh, Moreno Valley. Okay, yeah. They call it Moval. Gotcha. I missed that in California. Yes. Yeah, the outlying areas are going to suffer. I mean, this is the time you either want to work from home or you want to live right across the office. Looking at the Crawford Index, it looks like we're heading into red area when it comes to demand through the weekend. Do you see this as a concern? Closer we get the 4th of July, the slower it's going to be. That's usually when we peak when it comes to heat as well. And it just kind of grinds to a halt by the 4th of July. And the 4th of July is going to be brutal this year because it's a 3-day weekend. So we're going to definitely see that slow down. And there's not going to be as many firework displays out there. I don't know if you should check and see if downtown Payson has their fireworks show, because to me, that's the best fireworks show in the state. You get to sit out on the lawn. They got music. It's just fabulous. Sold our Cave Creek that was 1.3 for 1.162 with a contingency. There you go. It's starting. Congratulations. You sold it, though. I live 3 miles from work. I go home and nap for lunch. Yeah, that's a cool thing. My middle son might be transferred to Bethesda, Maryland. He works for a gaming company. And I saw him on Father's Day, and I said, so what's the story? Are you going out there? He goes, well, they wanted us to all come out, and then they had another COVID outbreak. So he said, so I don't want to go to Maryland, work from home. So he's waiting to see what's going to happen. So he's still working from home. My youngest son works for Best Buy in customer service. He works from home. I don't think he's enjoying it as much as he thought he would. He's a real social guy, and he likes to hang with the guys in the camera department. That's where he worked in Chandler. And so he's home answering phone. He's got stories. Oh my gosh. Cave Creek has gone silent, but that's the norm for summer. Yeah. So has Fountain Hills. Yeah, he'll have stories, but I mean, some lady calls and she's looking for a cable for her printer, and they don't make them anymore because it's a really old printer. And he says, well, they don't make those anymore for that printer. That printer is probably 10 years old. So we don't carry them. Well, they told me that you do carry them. He said, well, I'm looking, and we we don't carry them, and he says you can never win that discussion. So do you know what's happening with the Intel coming to North Peoria, I believe? I haven't heard that. There's a lot of chip manufacturing coming to the Phoenix Valley here. And somebody was asking me via email yesterday, what do I think is going to happen if inventory gets to normal and rates drop with all of this job growth coming in? Are we just going to repercolate? Is this just all going to fire up again? I hope not. I mean, I really hope we'll get up to about 25,000 listings and just have that stay there. We're seeing a lot more spec homes, new construction getting put on the MLS, which is not the bulk of what we're seeing on new houses, but on new listings, but it represents about 23% of the listings that we're seeing. So what'll 13,889, take 20% of that. That's new listings, new construction. It's the Taiwan semiconductor plant, Peoria, not Intel. I thought, they're putting one right next to I-17. Is that the one that we're speaking about? Just off I-17. Yeah, okay. I counted 13 cranes building it and stopped. There were more, more than 13 cranes. That's a huge complex. And there's a whole bunch of stuff going in around it to support the plant. So and I think the average wage they said was going to be well over $60,000 working there. So that's a huge shot in the arm for the community up there. And it's very conveniently located, like right next to the 303. So that's going to be interesting. And at the same time, and what's nice is that it's coming over from Taiwan and they're building it here, and we're going to get chips here. Right now, we're sitting here waiting for the boats to come over that aren't coming over to get our chips, and for everything from cars to cameras. And that'll help alleviate that problem, not to mention, make all the gamers in Phoenix happy. Car manufacturers, everything. We need chips, folks. Looks like a skyscraper laying on its side. Yeah, it's drive up there, take a look at it. It's amazing. There are one reason home builders having trouble getting concrete is they're using it all up. Well, there was also a concrete strike on the West Coast. I was talking to a guy that is overseeing the concrete, laying of the concrete for the new Facebook building, which is out in Mesa. And he said there's this big strike on the West Coast, particularly in the Seattle area. And they get a lot of cement from Washington and from California, and especially and he said, we just can't get it. He says, it's frustrating as all get out. It says, I believe they're adding more exits off the 303. Yeah, North Peoria could explode. It's not a bad place to live either, because you're closer to some of the outlying areas like Prescott and Flagstaff, and pretty good fireworks show from Brophy Pep Indian School in Central. Are they doing that this year? And I thought I read that a lot of them were canceling it. Did inventory jump up? Yes. These numbers get updated tonight, and I'm going to step out on a ledge and say it's going to be between 1,500 and 2,000 additional listings, because it went nuts this week on my 7-day moving average. And you can see right here that we're at 11,385, and we're at 13,899 this morning. So another $2,000. We've been going like 800, 900, 1,000. Now I think we're going to see $2,000. It's going to be absolutely mind blowing. But keep in mind, normal, if you can even use the word normal anymore, is 27,000. Here's a chart I wanted to show, and this was price index. So here's when rates really went up from 1980. And you could see that prices didn't come down. In fact, prices continued to go up in 81. And then they came down. This is when Paul Volcker really had to clamp down, 1981. So you can see that they came down. And then they popped right back up in a 2-year period. So rate increases will have an impact, but it doesn't knock everybody out. But prices were not near where they are now. And so, we could see a turn, and but we don't know how long we're going to be in that correction. What's the norm for sale, though, this time of year leading up to the 4th? I'll have to see if I can find that number. Are you able to show the average price per square foot feet for the city rankings. Let me see if I can get that for you. Sometimes when I try to do it live here, I have a hard time finding it. Let's see. Average sales price per square foot, monthly average short term. Let me see if this gives it to me by city. It's showing right. See how leveled off, showing at 306. City rankings. I'd have to go through and pull these out and put them in. It's not going to break them out by city. Austin new home sales are going down faster than Rick driving down Cherry Hill in his old Volkswagen. You remember that story? No, we were driving it uphill. We wanted to see how many people we could put in that Volkswagen. Yeah, Austin and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is getting hammered along with Boise. And those are interesting markets to watch. I'll see what I can find out, see if I can drill down a little bit deeper for you. What are real estate attitudes on buyers coming in lowballing offers? Waste of time or part of the job? More work for you, I'm sure. Well, if somebody really wants to lowball, I'll just tell you what your odds are. Say, well, look, I don't think that's got any legs. I mean, if you really, really want me to write it, I will. Sometimes we're surprised. But if you're making me write lowball after lowball after lowball, then yeah, I'm going to put the brakes on and say you're wasting my time. But if I look at a house and I go, it's been on the market 20 days, let's give it a shot, see what happens. I'll try something. I had a investor in California. He comes over and he was buying townhomes. He's done really well, by the way. And he offered this price on this home. I think they were asking 90,000. He offered 60, and the agent just sent back. What did she say? What did she type? Rejected in all caps. And I called her and I said, wow, that's the first time I had an offer rejected in all caps. She goes, that offer is ridiculous. I go, well, counter offer. Don't just say no. Get with your client and find out what offer is acceptable. And she said, well, we're going to counter full price. I said, well, send that to me and let me get with him, see what happens. So she countered full price and he goes, yeah, okay, I'll take it. So I called her back. She goes, why did he offer me 60,000? I said, because last month he got one for 60,000. You never know, so you just never know. As an investor, you think it would be more lucrative for me to just rent my property until the interest rates settled down. I mean, if you can get the rent and you got the cash flow, why not? Use that calculator and roll through and play some scenarios in there. But, when I first got started, there was a group here and I got sucked into it, going out and just writing all these lowball offers. And this guy's theory was that you write, 15 offers a week and one of them will probably stick. And I was too naive to realize what this guy was doing was coming into the valley and then looking for the brand new agents like me that didn't know what they were doing yet. And we would take anything, right? And after a week, I told these guys to go, I'm not doing this anymore. You guys are wasting my time. Cash is still, seems like cash will still strong, but slowing down. Yeah, I think some people are kind of moving on to different markets a little bit, but not that much. Do you know if the Crawford Market Index tracked back to 2008 and what was the number? I can show you that. Price and value are different things. Even if something's a good value, I'll try to get a better price. Why not? When I looked at what I want to look at, I'm going to show you what I call extremes. Okay. See if I can get this for a moment, because that really tells the true story of where we are in relationship to the past. And I apologize. This is kind of small. Let me see if I can increase it here for you. There we go. That's better. So the highest number of listings we ever had was 58,334. That was back at the end of October in 2007. The lowest we've ever had, they tracked it at 8,162 of active listings. And that number is considerably lower now. Typical 27,000. Then you go back and you look and you say, okay, what was Crawford Supply Index? Crawford Demand Index. Here's the Crawford Market Index. The highest we hit was last year at 514. Okay. The lowest we hit back in 2007 was 26.5. The Crawford Market Index was screaming, get out now, don't buy. People weren't paying attention to it. They're 26.5. We're at 200 now. So in comparison, when you're looking around those numbers, and the average is 150. So that's the extreme numbers that are out there. But sometimes people just don't pay any attention to them. But nobody really understood what the Crawford Market Index was back then. They just had their eye on the prize. Their neighbor bought a house, made money on it. I can too. Oh, and guess what? He didn't even have a job. So that's not the case today. Not the case. Almost gave up buying a house 6 years ago. Thought it was too expensive. 160 in Santan Valley. Now for sure the best decision I made. Yeah, 160 in Santan. You got to be sitting pretty good. Got to be sitting really good. I go back to that first blog that I put up. That was the housing bubble blog, and in 2018 they were telling everybody, don't go there. You don't want to buy a house. We're in a bubble. I had a gal show that to me. She was a associate broker, and she goes, "Oh, you got to start reading this blog." And I said, "I think he's all wet." "Oh no, you got to it's going to get ugly." This was 2018, right when you just started it. So so I haven't called it a reminder that didn't quite pan out. So I think going forward, though, what we're going to see, and July is really going to be the key here. If they give us another, 75 basis point hike, the federal bank, is it going to move mortgage rates? And where is the inflation data? What's it going to look like? If it starts looking like maybe it's tapering off, maybe they'll only go 50 basis points. Although the mood of the market's kind of funky. Sometimes if the Fed doesn't deliver on what they're saying they're going to do, then they react the opposite way. So they could come out and go 50 and the market's going to go, oh, mortgage rates are now 7. So what do you think the index would need to be at to lower our average price here in Arizona to around 300? Well, you're talking about going from 450 to 300. That's a pretty big hit. You're going to have to be in the 20s and 30s with the Crawford Market Index to see that kind of a price reduction to average 300. That's me spitballing, but and you're going to have to be there for a while. Because remember, even though they got down there and it said 26.5, it still took a year from that reading for prices to fall off the map. And they fell off the map because Lehman Brothers collapsed. We had a financial crisis, and that's really what drove it. So the Crawford Market Index is a leading indicator of demand and supply. So I don't see us getting down to 27. At least anything I'm looking at right now doesn't show that, but we just keep looking at it and see if it's falling. I've always said on this channel, if I see things, I'm going to say it. And right now I'm saying this is going to be a slow summer if you're a seller. No doubt in my mind. You got to price it correctly. There's some neighborhoods where it won't matter. You'll still be able to sell your home, but don't let it linger. So, because it's going to be a long, hot summer with high gas prices. People are nervous. A lot of jitteries out there. GD report coming soon. If it's negative again, it confirmed recession. I think we're already not having a recession. I don't see how fuel prices can be as high as they are, and gas prices and consumer spending to maintain its current level. We already went down 1.5% last quarter. I'm guessing we're going to be over 2 this quarter. I'm not an economist, but that's the way I'm feeling. How are iBuyer companies like Open Door impacting the market? All recent listings in my neighborhood are being offered through them, and that seems strange to me. They had an interesting chart on iBuyers here on one of the commentaries, so I'm going to show it to you. And James, hang in there. I'm going to get to your question here in just a moment. And they were showing a chart for OfferPad, and it's a very interesting observation. And it shown here, this orange line is the number of their homes that are under contract, and they're the more conservative of the two. And the blue line is their inventory. And look how it crossed here. They have 242 homes active and only 71 under contract. And it's saying here that that gives them a 6-month supply of homes. So I think you're going to see something radically change with them real quick. So they're either going to have a huge price reduction. There's going to be three things that could happen. And I don't know in what particular order, but they could reduce the prices greatly, or they could stop buying altogether like they've done a couple of times. They could start, I'm trying to talk and look at this thing at the same time. They could stop, cancel contracts. That's a danger right there. I've seen them do that before. Listings by city. Let me see if it breaks out Litchfield. It does. Bear with me here. I'll show you this chart. Get to Litchfield. Here we are. Active listing counts by day. So they're sitting at 110. So active listings by city. Sometimes this can get pretty busy. So that's not giving me anything. Sometimes it doesn't work. iBuyers make it easy to spot them. Worst listing descriptions: 3 bedrooms, 2 bath with garage. They, as a rule, they've been really easy to work with because they have a staff. You're not working with one agent or 2 agents. They have a staff. They have listing staff. They have people that handle the transactions. But the other part is they don't have any skin in the game. So the person that's on the other end of the phone, if you're having a $500 dispute with them over a repair, they don't really care. They just like, I had one. It was like $250 a repair they said they made and they didn't make. And it was an electrical one and we needed it fixed. And I could tell she's okay. She didn't care. So for $250 for her, it was like, okay, one more file I don't have to work with. Goodbye. So that's the interesting one. So OfferPad never responded to offers very well, which is what hurt them the most. I know many agents don't show their listings anymore. Open Door is not like that. OfferPad, I actually haven't done a deal with OfferPad, so I can't try to avoid them if I can, because you can submit offer at full price, get no response. 2 weeks later, see, that's crazy. Open Door, every offer I've written for Open Door that we went in below list, they countered. They never rejected. They never ignored us. They always sent us a counter offer. You can also tell when you look at the MLS and you see an Open Door listing, you don't even have to look to see the Open Door. They have this little white watermark on the photos that says for sale, not for rent. And they do that so that people don't copy those pictures and put that house on Craigslist and say it's for rent, which is another warning. If you're looking for a house to rent and you look at it on Craigslist, you need to cross-reference it and see if it's for sale. Because if the price is too good to be true, then it's a scam. So be careful out there. That story about iBuyers sounds like dealing with Tesla Energy. I've heard that's rough, Matt. I've heard that's Solar City, right? They just don't, they don't get back to you. When you're in the middle of a transaction with a solar lease and you're waiting for a form to be filled out, it can really, I don't like solar leases and transaction. They're a pain in the butt. Open Door is pretty good to work with. Never had an issue. Yeah, I agree. With demand where it's headed, do you think these iBuyers are running for the hills like Zillow did? Zillow shot themselves in the foot. They didn't leave because of a bad market. They just didn't know what they were doing. So what they did was they said, hey, let's offer people what the Zestimate says. Your house is worth $400. Let's give them that. And then some other Harvard graduate in there said, let's add 7% to that so they can have a positive seller experience. And then the accountant walks in the office, says, hey, we're losing our shirt. Really? How many homes? About 9,000. And they had to just stop. And they were cutting prices like crazy. And they were all above market value. So they offered you way too much, marked it up way too high. And then they ended up selling them in blocks of 200 to investors to use as rentals. And they didn't even give you and me a chance to try and get some of these homes when they put them back on. Use an OfferPad and Open Door offer like our listers as a low bidder. So YouTube, everyone hit the like button. See, that's one of my favorite YouTube names on here, YouTube. I think that's great. Ask Solar Sandy to use as an expert. I've heard her show. She seems to know what the heck she's talking about. I'm not that well versed on solar, and I'm not mathematically convinced it's the way to go. If you buy solar panels or if you lease them, you take the cost of solar and you figure out it's a good 10 years before you break even. So, you know, you're going to have, if you're going to have solar, you're going to have to commit to solar. I got a kick and reel parts in the description, price below Zillow estimate. I don't even mention them. But I know everybody, look, if you go on a listing appointment, you better know what Zillow has that house listed at. Otherwise, you're just going to be viewed as an idiot. So I always pull that up. Walk in the door. Hi, how are you? Zillow has you at 525, by the way. So that's just the way it's going. Oh, it's great. Well, everybody, I hope you have a fabulous Saturday. Thanks for joining me today. And let's give this another run next week. I hope I got everybody's questions in. If I didn't, shoot me an email, rick@rickhelps.com. And if you want that spreadsheet, send me an email. I'll send it right over to you. Take care.